Well, hey, I'm here in the Black Hills of South Dakota, and of course, there's been a lot going on over the last few days with the Trump shooting specifically. And there was an interesting report that came out by Smith & Wesson that really talked about the cycle of gun panic buying, that it's actually a cyclic thing, that there's spikes of this thing and then it kind of comes and goes, and it's really fascinating. So kind of analyzing that and basing it off of what they recently experienced just in the last couple days is that in 2020, right around March, there was a lot going on. Of course, you had COVID, you had the riots, you had civil unrest, you had political uproars, you had a lot of things going on, and ultimately it caused people to go out and panic buy guns. And we all saw the lines, we all experienced the gun shortage, we all experienced the ammo shortage. But based off of Smith & Wesson's data, what they're seeing now is the exact same trend. That there was a spike just in the last couple days of gun purchases that very much resembled what they saw back in March of 2020. And that it's usually a series of events. And of course, we're looking at an election year, and that was kind of their main point, is typically, well, not typically, but recently, that it's really around those election years that we begin to see these really play out the way that they've been playing out. And ultimately what we saw back in 2020 was there was kind of back in 2019, there was a dip in gun purchases, and it kind of was just leveling off, going down slightly, and then right around March, just a giant spike. And then it kind of went higher and higher, and now what we're seeing is that exact same thing. We see that spike. Now, Smith & Wesson is predicting that this spike is temporary, assuming there's no strange things like any sort of civil unrest or pandemic or an election that's very divisive. Now, of course, there's going to be an election. You can't change that one. And strangely, Smith & Wesson didn't mention this, but I believe this wholeheartedly, that because of the bird flu and things like that, there's going to be, right around October, there's going to be vaccines available for the bird flu, and it's going to cause people to set into kind of more of a panic. So, but it's always one event that triggers this. In 2020, it was COVID was the event. And now what they're saying is that this Trump shooting at the Trump rally potentially is that catalyst that begins this trend of seeing people panic buy guns. And then if you're panic buying guns, you're obviously panic buying ammo as well. Now, a couple things I can say is I do not believe the gun industry or the ammo industry was prepared for that. And they fought hard and worked around the clock to get out of that situation. So I would argue that they're better prepared this time. So if you desire to go out and buy a gun, even if you're worried, I encourage you to. I believe wholeheartedly that there's something comforting about being armed. For me, when I sit and I think about the hard things in life or the things that may be out of my control, I just feel a little more sound when I have a firearm. And I know many people do too. So I'm not discouraging you from doing that by any means at all. More so, I encourage the purchase of firearms in any way, shape, or form, whether you're worried about it or you just need another hunting rifle. I definitely encourage you to do what you feel is right to protect your family. But according to Smith & Wesson, the trend, the graphic trend specifically, looks exactly like it did in March of 2020. We happen to be in a very divisive election year. So in the end, really, it kind of depends on what takes place in the future. But I do believe that they're correct, Smith & Wesson, that this is a catalyst that begins that kind of thing. And if political violence continues and civil unrest comes in and really anything else pops up, I think we're really in the same situation, minus that I believe the industry is better prepared. And I also, again, I want to encourage you that if for some reason you feel a desire to go out and buy guns and ammo, you do. That you do that thing. So any thoughts or insight on that, definitely put that below. Do want to take a moment and say most people watch this channel, not subscribers. Click that subscribe button. Greatly increases the algorithm and our ability to get these messages out. That link is also below. But the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests. So please don't ever, ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.